Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another episode. Today we are going to be continuing off with what if everything went wrong, and this time we are going to be pretty much doing everything in the whole search for Tsunade Arc. And I think I should be able to fit it all in, even though it seems long, because there's both a prelude to it and also the main arc itself. I should still be able to cover everything. So let's see, now that the Leaf Village has actually been destroyed completely, we are now moving on where Kisame and Itachi actually invade the Leaf Village. Well, they don't necessarily invade, but they're coming over to check on the village just to see the situation. We know that in the future, Pain actually is the one who sent them over as a means to, I guess, scour and see the effects on the leaf itself. But with that being said, Itachi is also concerned about Sasuke, but we don't know that for the time being. At this particular point in time, Itachi and Kisame are both actually here, and they're pretty much to see what things are like. Basically, Kakashi catches on, he sends Asuma and Kurenai to actually go and stop them, and remove them from the village or apprehend them, and the fight ensues. So with this particular situation, it's interesting, would Asuma and Kurenai actually die in this situation? I think, with Itachi being a little bit more of a kind-hearted person, he's truly the good guy in this case, he would try to prevent Kisame from actually killing Asuma or Kurenai. However, with that being said, to avoid suspicion, Itachi might not actually be too concerned about that. So if they went into a full-fledged battle, would you actually think that Kisame could beat Asuma in this case? Or with Itachi there, would he need to kill Kurenai as well? Or even Asuma, really? I mean, it's interchangeable who they face, but would Itachi be willing to let them die just to prove that he isn't causing any kind of suspicion? Like, just to prove that he's genuinely on Akatsuki's side, would he actually be willing to kill Asuma and Kurenai for that particular sake? And my thing is this, in the worst case scenario, I think Itachi would. He was willing to kill off his entire clan just to protect Sasuke. So in the same matter here, to avoid suspicion, to continue to spy on the Akatsuki for the third Hokage, and despite the fact that the third Hokage died, Itachi is still technically on the good guy's side. So with that being said, I think that Itachi would still want to surveillance or at least keep an eye on the Akatsuki for the time being. So with that being said, he wouldn't want to draw any kind of suspicion, and so I think he would easily let Kurenai and Asuma die if he had let this be drawn out into a full fight. But of course, we do know that Kakashi arrives to actually intercept the battle, though the thing is this, if Kakashi didn't arrive in time and if the battle was drawn out just a bit further, I think Kurenai and Asuma would actually die. And yeah, that would actually be quite a big deal, because that means that in the future you won't get Mirai, you wouldn't also get, in the Hiran and Kakuzu arc, Asuma wouldn't die in that. So with that being said, there would be, I don't know how it would actually work for character growth, but what I would like to see is that if Asuma actually died in this particular point in time, my prediction is that it would actually affect Shikamaru still. Maybe not as deeply, but I think it would still affect Shikamaru, and he would want to get some kind of revenge for Asuma's death. In this case, he might want to get revenge on Kisame, which means Sasuke would want to get revenge on Itachi for the clan, of course. And I think that would make a pretty interesting story going ahead, because it's potentially speaking that maybe in this situation now, Sasuke actually has someone, Shikamaru in this case, who has experienced the same situation that he experienced, and so they both kind of want that same revenge. And as a result of that, it might even lead to the point in the future where Sasuke might not even leave the village. It's a possibility that Sasuke and Shikamaru might develop a stronger relationship than Naruto and Sasuke. So with that being said, I'd like to see, like, if it did move on to Shippuden, Sasuke might still be on the good guy's side. He might not even bother leaving to Orochimaru because he now has Shikamaru to understand the situation. In fact, even Team 8 would feel the same way. All of Team 10 would feel the same way. And so both Sasuke and Shikamaru, as the main two, would have their own arc where they both team up to maybe even fight Itachi and Kisame. That would actually be quite an interesting fight if this actually happened. And it's crazy as well, just one particular death this early on in the series could actually cause such a major event to unfold later on. It's quite exciting. Same thing applies for Team 8. You might actually have someone like Kiba or Shino to actually take the lead and also go after Kisame or Itachi for killing Kurenai as well. Of course, that's not to say that characters like Ino wouldn't be affected as well, or Hinata. It's just the fact that both Hinata and Ino aren't as strong-willed in this particular scenario, so I do see it being less often. It might just be the next arc is, instead of the Sasuke retrieval arc, we have the, hey, let's go pursue Itachi and Kisame arc, which would be quite interesting. But then again, it would be a bit too early because of the fact that both Shikamaru and Sasuke are nowhere near the level they are in Shippuden. So definitely leave me down your thoughts as to what you think about this particular scenario. However, let's go back and rewind a bit to the point where Kakashi actually arrives and intercepts. So in this case, everything goes about and Itachi is now willing to show the Tsukuyomi for the first time. Would he kill Kakashi off? Well, we saw in the anime that he didn't, but like I said earlier, to prove to the Akatsuki that he is technically loyal, even though he's pretending, he might be willing to kill Kakashi. Again, he was willing to kill his own clan just to protect Sasuke, so to avoid suspicion from the Akatsuki, it's possible that he might even be willing to kill Kakashi if he was willing to push it that far. And I think that would definitely be quite a big impact as well on Team 7, because in this scenario now, we have, well, Kakashi pretty much being killed off, and so Team 7 is now wanting to pursue Itachi, and with Sasuke, he now sees both Naruto and Sakura experiencing what he experienced, although to a minor degree, they all now have that similar goal. So again, it would lead to Sasuke actually being less inclined to actually leave the village to go seek out Orochimaru. I mean, it really does draw a big picture here where if either Kakashi, Asuma, or Kurenai died, then it might actually lead to Sasuke staying in the village. I don't know if that's a far-fetched thing, but I really do see it happening. I mean, Sasuke just wanted to have someone, well, he didn't want to. It's just that Sasuke didn't have someone who truly understood his situation, and so that's why he left the village. He was more hell-bent on revenge rather than finding people to replace those lost connections or lost bonds that he had. Now, of course, let's go just a bit ahead where everything stays as normal again, and we have the point where Kakashi just came out of the Tsukuyomi. He happened to survive again, just like the actual series went. But, of course, remember how Itachi actually told Kisame, hey, just kill the other two. Let's just kill off Asuma and Kurenai and then kidnap Kakashi. Again, similar events would occur. It would, again, lead to Sasuke actually staying in the village. So yeah, that's under the assumption that, again, if Guy didn't actually arrive in time, we might have a completely different story going ahead, which is really just turning out to be quite interesting, to be honest. But of course, we then actually move on to the point where Guy comes in. Now, at this point, Itachi is actually exhausted, so he would want to leave. Kisame also knows about Itachi's weakness, so in this case, Kisame might also be willing to leave as well. I think Kisame actually has that kind of relationship with Itachi where he is actually willing to obey Itachi, so if Itachi actually says, hey, let's just go and leave and retreat for now, I think Kisame would actually do the same, because because you do know that Guy did actually send reinforcements over. There was a bunch of Anbu members coming over, so had they drawn out that particular fight, it was a potential case where the Anbu could have easily just hunted out and took on Itachi and Kisame. Now, it's hard to imagine that Kisame and Itachi would both lose to a bunch of Anbu members. Yes, there was Guy and there was Asuma there as well, and Kurenai, and a weakened Kakashi now, or incapacitated Kakashi, but even so, I don't really imagine Kisame and Itachi losing that easily, even in a fight like that. Yeah, of course, Guy could actually release the 7th gate, which could actually be quite insane, but it just feels a bit too early for that to happen. Maybe if we took away the fact that there was no build-up and Kishimoto genuinely wanted to reveal the 7th gate now, it is possible that they might happen to defeat Kisame, but I still feel like Itachi would be able to get away. Kurenai's Genjutsu just doesn't stand up against Itachi. Asuma again also doesn't really stand a chance, and the Anbu members, look, Itachi was an Anbu member himself. He was considered one of the most gifted. He was an Anbu captain at 13. So yeah, Itachi wouldn't be losing that easily. I think even in the worst case scenario, Itachi might be able to retreat with Kisame's death, but even so, it's really far-fetched in that particular situation. All I see is that on the good guy's side, we see that the Anbu members might be killed off. We see that Asuma or Kurenai might even be killed off. And Kakashi at this point, he needs the medical surveillance. Actually, you know what? The funny thing is this. During that particular moment, Guy actually asked Kurenai to take Kakashi to the hospital. So that means that Asuma and Guy were the only people that were going to be there and hold them off until the Anbu arrived. So that would actually make it worse in their situation as well, because now they don't have Kurenai, though I don't really see her doing too much. But I could also easily see that if this was to be drawn out, Kisame or Itachi could easily just take hands on Kakashi and keep him as a hostage, so that would worsen the situation for the Leaf as well. So yeah, in that particular situation, of course, Itachi doesn't want to reveal too much. He wants to obviously stay loyal at this point to the Akatsuki, just to not raise suspicions, but at the same time, Itachi isn't dumb enough, and same thing for Kisame as well. I don't think they're really going to be that dumb to want to stay over and have this drawn out fight. They don't want to raise attention. They don't want more people knowing about the Akatsuki. So with that being said, they're trying to keep a low profile, so that would take them away. But again, just opening up such a big and interesting story. But of course, we move on to the point where now Kakashi is actually knocked out, and now they're actually going to hunt for Naruto. Of course, at this point, Jiraiya also asks for Naruto to go out as well with him to find Tsunade. Now, in this particular situation, you also see the whole scenario where the Leaf Elders have asked Jiraiya to actually become the Hokage. Worst case scenario is they actually force Jiraiya to become the Hokage without him actually leaving the village, and that would actually be quite the problem, wouldn't it? But then again, they wouldn't be that inclined to actually declare Jiraiya as the Hokage, but that could actually make the situation worse, because keep in mind, Danzo is actually still alive in this situation. So worst case scenario, would they actually make Danzo the Hokage? Would Danzo actually volunteer? I'm actually was thinking, wow, it's interesting. They came to ask Jiraiya rejected, and Danzo didn't even step up to actually decide to become Hokage in this case. So maybe it just didn't cross his mind at this particular point in time, but still, I guess the elders were thinking just ahead, and they allowed for Jiraiya to actually go out and search Tsunade. But at this particular point, the worst case scenario really could have been Danzo being the Hokage, which would have made things so bad so early on. But again, in this particular situation, it would also prevent Sasuke from actually leaving the village. Alright, so this video actually turned out to be quite longer than I expected. I didn't actually realize that the story would turn out to be this interesting, this intricate. But yeah, definitely leave me your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed it, definitely drop a like and also subscribe for more videos just like this, because in the next part, I'm going to definitely finish off and talk about the whole Tsunade arc. Hopefully I do actually complete it all in one video, because yeah, this one, it's close to 20 minutes right now. Of course, yeah, I'm going to be cutting off some parts maybe, so it might be a little less, but we are close to 20 minutes. So yeah, I want to just end this video right now, and then in the next part we'll hopefully finish it off in less than 20 minutes. But yeah, it will be quite exciting. But this one was by far definitely one of the most interesting ones, as to the fact that the story just unfolds to such a different level, and it's just so interesting to see what would actually happen. I mean, maybe I could make an extended version of this in the future, so if you guys actually want to see that, definitely let me know. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. This is Enigma, signing out.